From analog
Hi, Jim. You've a great signal up here. You're 5.9 plus.
to digital.
We are everywhere you want to be. This is the CQ Blind Hams Podcast.
Good morning, everybody. At least it's morning here right now in southwest Louisiana. My name is Marvin, and my call is W5MRR. What we're going to talk about today is using a manual antenna tuner and how to tune your station up. And for this, we're going to use a SWR Watt meter. So, let's talk about antenna tuner, what it looks like, what the knobs are on it. You may have my tuner, particular tuner, is an old Heathkit tuner. Actually, I have two tuners, but the one we're using today is an old Heathkit tuner. And there are three knobs on the front of it. You have first knob on the left is a capacitor. The knob in the middle is a roller inductor to set the inductance of your antenna. And the knob on the right is your transmitter capacitor. Those are the three main controls of your tuner. Now let's talk about how we hook all of this up. I'm going to start at the radio and I'm going to work my way out. So you have a jumper, in my case, that goes from the radio to the input of the amplifier. That's the first thing, the first device past the radio. Next, I have a jumper that goes from the output of the amplifier to the input of the TW1, the talking watt meter. And for you guys, I have mine labeled, but for you guys, if you have the meter facing you, that's the coax on the left, the coax connector that's on your left if you reach around behind it. Okay. The next piece of coax comes out of the TW1 and goes to the input coax connector of your antenna tuner. And the last thing in line is your antenna coax. Now, on the back of some of your tuners, you may have other coax connectors. In my case, both of my tuners just have two coax connectors, an input and an antenna. You may feel on the back of your tuner, besides the coax connector, you may feel a couple of other nuts sticking out of it. And then usually in my case, the bottom left, or the back bottom left-hand corner is a ground lug, and that way you can ground your tuner. This Heathkit that we're working with today, it has the ability, you can connect open wire line to it, or you can just connect a long wire to it. So, that's what's on the back of the tuner. And right now we're hooked up on the roller inductor, which I would recommend, if you can, find a tuner with a roller inductor. It's just easier and more precise. The reason that I have my tuners that both have roller inductors I run a tube type amplifier with a pair of 3500Zs, and it will about do the legal limit. So I have to have tuners that will handle the power. So let's first start with the roller inductor, which in my case is the knob in the middle. Most of your older manual tuners, that's where it is. It'll be a knob that has a crank on it. Either you can put a finger in it to turn the knob, that's so you can count, or my other tuner has a little bitty crank on the knob to where you just grab it and crank it. This one that we're working with today, it just has a little finger hole, and you stick a finger in there and you just start turning the knob to count the turns. And we'll talk about that in just a second. So let's start out, and I want to tune up on 40 meters. We have the Sunday night 40 winks net. So just because I'm going to tune up for that frequency. So I'm going to first go over here to my HF rig, and I'm going to enter that frequency. Alright, we're now on 7238 with the HF radio. And as you can hear, there's not any noise or anything else. Just floor noise, just my radio's regular floor noise. And everything is hooked up correctly, so we know that. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to adjust the inductor knob. In my case and with my antenna, I know that if I put 7 turns of inductance into my tuner, that's going to be pretty close to where 40 meters is going to tune out to flatten the SWR, because that's what the purpose of this tuner is. So let's go ahead and put 7 turns in. So I'm going to stick my finger in the little knob, and we're going to count 7 turns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And there we go. Bingo, we got noise. So we know we're somewhere getting close. Hang on, let me turn this down so I don't have to yell over the static. Okay. So what I'm going to do next, the 2 capacitors that we were talking about, the transmit and receive capacitors on the tuner, I'm going to turn them and tune them simply for maximum noise. So let me turn this back up here, and let's tune them for maximum noise. Alright, now we're tuned for maximum noise with our capacitors. So let's talk about a minute about how we're going to do this. Sometimes you may hear me, and with the TW1, since we're tuning for SWR, we're going to press and hold the SWR button, which is the button on the far right hand side. And you may hear me in the thing that we're looking for is the lowest tone. Sometimes you may hear me increase the tone a little bit. In other words, juggling the capacitors so that I can tune them for a lower tone. So let's see what happens. I need to put the rig on CW. Did that. Now let's press and hold the far right button on the TW1. Alright, now we know we are in the tone mode, so let's key up and start to tune the SWR down as low as we can. Alright, that's the minimum on that, as you could hear. So what I'm going to do is next I'm going to move over to the capacitor on the left, and I'm going to increase the tone on that a little bit so that I can maybe get the SWR lower. So here goes. Well, worked out. I decreased it, which you always want to try that first. I decreased the tone even more. And I think that's going to be pretty close. Let's check it. So I'm going to press the SWR button to get it, the TW1 out of the tone mode. Now I'm going to key my transmitter and I'm going to just tap the SWR button.
The SWR is 1.121.
Which that's pretty good, and it's very acceptable, and you can talk on it all day long like that. But I really want mine flat. So I'm going to key my transmitter, and I'm going to take the left capacitor and I'm going to increase the tone a little bit. And I think it just fell to 1.0. Hang on, let's see.
The SWR is 1.021.
And that's just the way it happens sometimes. So there that is. We are sitting at 7228 megahertz. I'm back on lower sideband now. And we would be ready to talk on the 40 winks net, which for me is going to be tomorrow night. So that was pretty easy. But, tell you what, let's do. Let's tune up for the 20 meter net and see how that goes from here. Because I'm set up for 40, but I want to move over to 20 meters. So let's go through this again. First thing I'm going to do is enter my frequency. (14.238.00) or 00 rather. There ain't no dot in there. So, we know where we are now. I'm set up with the radio on 20 meters. And as you'll remember, our roller inductor is sitting on 7 turns. So, in my case and with my old Heathkit tuner, I know that for 20 meters, 3 turns of inductance is all I need. So I'm sitting at 7, so let's take the middle knob, the roller inductor knob, and we'll turn it 3 turns to the left so that it's back on 3 turns. 1, 2, 3. Got that. Oh, I need to add one more here. There. 4 turns. That leaves 3, doesn't it? So, what did we do last time? We tuned for maximum noise. Alright, we're tuned for maximum noise, and I'm already in the CW mode, so we're going to again hold the right hand button down on the TW1, that's the SWR button, until we go into the tune mode, or tone mode, or whatever you want to call it. Now I'm going to key my transmitter and see where we're at. And that's the lowest that will go. So let's take our meter out of the tone mode and check the SWR.
The SWR is 1.121.
There again, there's 1.1 to 1, and that'll work all day long. But let me see if I can drop it just a little more. So I'm going to take the left capacitor and I'm going to key my transmitter and first see if it'll drop to flat. Let's see. And it might have done it.
The SWR is 1.021.
And there you have it. Done. That didn't take much adjustment from 20 to 40 on the capacitors at all. So my usual talking spot is on 80 meters. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pause the recording a minute and I'm going to switch back to my other tuner. Because right quick, I want to go through how to tune my amplifier once the tuner is set and all that stuff. So let me do that. Let me pause the recording. Alright, I'm back, and I ended up starting a new recording, so I had to put them all together. The only thing I've done is I've switched to my other antenna tuner because I want to go back over to 80 meters and get everything back ready to talk tomorrow morning. So let me enter the frequency 0395300. Alright, we're there. Gonna go back into CW. First thing I want to do is check my SWR here.
The SWR is 1.421.
Alright, I probably bumped the knob when I was leaning over the tuner. So let's fix that.
The SWR is 1.121.
Again. So we're going to go back into the tone mode of the meter. And that dropped it to 1.0.
The SWR is 1.021.
Alright, I've also turned my amplifier on. I've turned it to the sideband mode. We're still in CW on the radio because I want to check the tuning of my amplifier. So, what are we going to do? We're going to hold the far left button, which is the power out reading on the meter. We're going to hold that button down and put it into the tone mode. But instead of looking for the minimum tone, since we're now tuning the output of the amplifier, we're looking for the maximum tone. So, let's see what we find. Oh, I got to turn the amp. There we go. Turn it off standby here. So, let's key up and find out what we got. That's the load control. And that's the maximum. So let's see what the wattage looks like now. I'm driving the amplifier of 48 watts. That's when I'm just talking, that's about what I drive it with. So let's see what we got.
The forward power is 741 watts.
So, that way I'm not driving the amplifier very hard at all. If I can't get there with 700 watts, then I'm not going to much get there at all. So, that is the process you... Uh-oh. What'd I do? I think I'm fine. There. Go back to lower sideband. Anyway, that is the entire process that I go through when using a manual antenna tuner and a tube-type amplifier and a TW1 watt meter. If anybody has any questions, feel free to email me at w5mrr1@gmail.com, or better yet, catch me on the bridge. Everybody have a great day, and 73 from W5MRR.
Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast and visit www.blindhams.com.